What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the ever-evolving, never-ending Ready, Set podcast. If society's a joke, then we're just here for the first set. And speaking of a joke, did anyone pay attention to what happened at Burning Man last year? Boy, was it a shit show. And yes, the pun is intended. Well, guess what? I went to Burning Man in 2011. I went to Burning Man in 2012. I have some stories to share, and then we're going to react to what happened this year. All right, run the card, Steve.
I'm back, baby!
All right, everyone. Welcome to Ready, Set podcast. So Burning Man 2023, what a shit show, mud show that ended up turning out to be. But before we get into that, I just thought I'd explain everyone not what Burning Man is. I'm going to leave that up to you guys to figure out and look into. I'm sure some people have been to Burning Man. But I wanted to kind of talk about some other things that are going on there. And that was, my previous experience, because I went back in 2011. Now, what I think through today's lenses is kind of interesting is I remember a friend of mine, Pickle, he was on the podcast, number 7. We talked about some coronavirus, or B-Money, as he likes to be called these days, I guess. He was I remember in 2004, he's like, I'm going to Bonnaroo, Waka Caruso, the Electric Ladyland Festival in Michigan, whatever it's called. And all these tended to be like music festivals, because we went to one place called the All Good Festival in West Virginia, Marvin's Mountaintop. Yeah, somewhere in West Virginia. I mean, it was way the fuck out there. I actually remember when we were going to this little festival thing, we pulled into the little town that was right next to Marvin's Mountaintop. And I swear to God, this place looked like it was straight out of 1904. Even the buildings looked like they were straight from 1904. It was pretty nuts, but I mean, that's kind of the Appalachia area, right? So we went out to there. So that was Brandon, or B-Money, and he went to Burning Man a lot. And I remember when I moved to Phoenix, I asked him, are you going to go to Burning Man? And to show you how ridiculously dumb I was about what Burning Man was, I asked him, who's playing there this year? And he had to explain to me what it is that they built a city in the middle of nowhere that's got these principles. They're almost like commandments. It's so funny, for a very non-secular group, they seem to have like, secular, almost commandment style rules, if you will. And so he told me to just look it up, and that I could, go buy the ticket still online if I wanted to go. And I think back then it was like $350, and I was buying it late. It was like June, I think, when I bought that ticket, May or something like that. And it was still available to buy. And we will get into this a little bit more later on. But by 2012, that ticket you couldn't purchase it. I think you had to do a lottery by that point. But anyway, so I decided to go in 2011, and I bought my ticket, but I had no idea what to expect, because all you could really do is go to the Burning Man website, talk to people who have been there before. I didn't really know anyone outside of Pickle that had gone to Burning Man, and he doesn't really take pictures, so I had really nothing to go on. But I remember going onto YouTube back then and just writing in, Burning Man 2011. Or sorry, that was 2011. Burning Man 2010. And I was only able to find a few videos. I only think maybe 2 or 3 popped up, and a few of them were really short, and one of them was more of a longer form, not much, maybe 5-10 minutes, and it kind of showed you what was going on. It looked really cool. You had a lot of, the city just comes alive at night. I'm sure everyone has seen the pictures, so I probably don't need to describe them. And actually, I'm going to show you guys some of the pictures from my trip in 2011. I have some videos too. Again, this is 12, 13 years ago, so the technology isn't as what is today, and we're going to kind of see that, but we'll get into that in a second. So there were barely any YouTube videos, so I had really no idea what to expect. But, I prepared. Me, Pickle, and a friend of his drove out there. I think I took my car the first year, and then the next year we carpooled, but I took my car the first year, followed him all the way out there from Phoenix to Gerlach, Nevada, and then the event is just past Gerlach, and I think that was about 15 hours total, and driving from Phoenix over there. It was it's about 1,000 miles, yeah. And we stayed in Reno, got up to the events, and when we got there, the line was pretty long. I remember sitting in line for a good few hours. And then when you get there, they ask you if this is your first time being here. And if you're an idiot, you say yes. And then they basically make you roll around in the sand. And good luck getting that sand off of you for the rest of the week. It was probably one of the dumbest decisions I made, walking right into the gate, literally, right there. And then I think I rang a bell or some shit like that. But that probably explains why the line is so goddamn long, because people are like, yeah, it's my first time here. Oh, get out and jump in the sand. How about you move the line forward and then have them do that? Anyway, I digress. So when we got into Burning Man, we started driving around because, like, unless you previously joined a camp that you pre-registered and, you know, they have a designated area for the camp, we didn't have anything like that. We were just going to go and find a place to camp, and that was kind of proving to be a little hard because obviously the closer you are to the playa, that's the prime real estate up there. And now maybe I should probably explain. Let's actually do this really quickly. All right, so we're going to look at a map here of Burning Man. Let's bring that up really quickly here. Okay, so this is Black Rock City, and if you basically look at it, it's a clock that is basically just from 10 to 2, okay? And in the middle here is the playa. You can see it has the man, and then where the temple that they burn on Saturdays is. I mean, I will say this, it's a pretty decent walk, but that's against the point here. So when I say, you know, you drive in from here, you come in, you have one or two ways to go, and then the closer you get to this area here, you know, I mean, I would say, yeah, definitely between like, you know, what is that, like 4, 5, and 7, 8, like all this, this is your, especially the closer you get, this is all your prime real estate right here, okay? So we were attempting to look for a camp in that area, and we weren't really having too much luck. So, we had to push back further. I remember Pickle ended up finding this one area. These people had a camp. They had all these hammocks laid out. I'm not sure where we would have camped, but he ended up knocking on, like, this person literally had like a home. I mean, it wasn't like a built foundation, but it was some kind of trailer that was, you know, built to look like a home. I wish I took a picture of this. It's pretty cool. He had to like knock on the door. He's like, "Oh, is it all right? We camp here." And this lady comes out. Like in today's days, in today's lens, we would call this lady, because she looked like a Karen. I even hate using that terminology, but to set the scene, you know, the short hair, the circle glasses. You know, I don't think she was that old, but she was basically telling my friend, like, in order for you guys to camp here, you have to have done something previously or like work around the camp or something like that. And I just remember my Pickle being like, fuck that elitist bitch, you know? So we ended up I don't even remember. I think we were like 4 o'clock and G or F. So it goes, let's go back to that screen actually. It goes, oh, that's not it. Wrong picture here. Hold on 1 second, everyone. We'll do it live, right? We will do it live. Okay. Each street here, so the furthest street in is A. It goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You get it. You know what I mean? And then each road, so the roads running, what is that? You know, horizontal are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then the ones running north and south, up and down, is going to be your 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So if you're all the way over here, you'd be like, I'm at 10 o'clock and M or F. You know, it's going to be back this way. I'm at 2 o'clock and M, F. You get it. You know, I'm at 4 o'clock. Okay. So when you're riding around, that's kind of how you guide around, is, you know, the street names, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then I think based on the theme of that Burning Man, that's where they, you know, it's not A, B, C. There's a name for it, but I don't ever remember using that. You're not, you know, it's not practical, I guess. So we ended up over at, like, I think it was like 4 o'clock and F. We were somewhere out there somewhere, and we were looking for a camp. It was kind of packed in there, and we found this one little area, because there was only 3 of us. So we only had 3 tents up, and we found this area. This guy, there was a car parked, and there was some open space next to it. So we got out. We, hey, do you mind if we camp right here? Is that okay? He's like, oh yeah, come on in, you know. So we started getting our stuff out of the car. My car. Pickle was getting his stuff out of his. I'll never forget this. While we're setting up, the guy who we talked to, he gets out. We start talking to him, and then these 2 girls get out of the car, and within, you know, one of them's butt naked. It was like, what the hell? Where am I? You know, like, I've only been here for 3 seconds, and here we are. What an experience. You know, it was very overwhelming, if you will. And, you know, that first night we got set up, I remember one of the coolest things about being there was that year, this is 2011, someone had set up a laser, it was basically a laser clock. And no matter where you were standing in Black Rock City, if you looked up at night, you would see these 3 green lasers. And, you know, one would be moving every second. And then it was essentially a giant clock, because one laser would be moving around in a circle in an interval of 1 second, and then another hand would move at the minute and the hour. It was really cool. We didn't know it at first because you're like, what is going on up there? And then I think someone told us, oh, that's some artistic thing someone put together, and it's a clock. And it was pretty cool actually. But I remember it being like 3 or 4 in the morning. Pickle and I are hanging out in my in the tent. I mean, he was probably just sitting on the outside of it when we were talking, and I think I just started slowly dozing off. I was so dead tired at that point. And it was pretty cool first night. But what was really cool about Burning Man was just getting to know everyone. Across the way we met people. There was a bunch of people from Switzerland next to them, and the group that we asked if we could camp next to them was also there. So we kind of became a group there. There's a lot of just hanging out, talking, getting to know everyone there in the beginning. And it was pretty cool. Like I actually brought like 5 pounds of bacon. I remember Pickle telling me like bacon is huge out there because it keeps well. It's full of nitrates. It's bacon. I mean, it's bacon, right? You can use it to barter and trade, because I don't know if a lot of people understand this about Burning Man, but like you don't go there to buy. Like it's not like going to Bonnaroo or one of these where they're selling grilled. I remember going to Walker All Good Festival, and it was everyone was selling. You go to the vendor area, and it would be, oh, we have a one grilled cheese sandwich for $3, 2 for $5, or something like that. That's not how Burning Man works. It's all about trading, just giving, or there's no capitalism, if you will. And it's kind of funny. I always think to myself how I used to go to Burning Man all the time, not realize I was surrounding myself with all these left-wing crazies from San Francisco. But I digress. Where are we here? So so you have the man. Let's see. Do I have a picture? I think I have a picture of the man. Of course, I just did that. 1 second. Is this yeah? Hold on. We do it live, right? We do it live. Where's the man? Where are you? The man. There you go. Okay. So this is the man in 2011. It was okay. What they think they had done, like, I'll be honest, this one was okay. The platform that he sits on, it was just some like diamond thing. I think the one they did the next year was really cool. The ones I've seen them do the last 5 years are super intricate. But this one, I didn't take a whole picture of the structure, but this is what he looked like in 2011. And it was pretty cool because by the end of the week, or right before they burn him, the hands lift up like that. You know what I mean? So I think this was kind of earlier in the week before they were even burning the man. And it was pretty cool experience. Just, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like those first few days, there weren't a lot of people there. I guess some people, they weren't like me, just, people have professional jobs. They can't spend a whole week going out to that. So it really gets busy Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I believe. Monday, Tuesday, there weren't a lot of people there. And it was really cool because you have the playa, which is, where was that photo? Let me get rid of some of these here. What was really cool is you had the playa. So what would happen is you'd have the man, and then all around the man, there's all these like little different art exhibits going on, so to speak. And, people basically from the regional burns will build their sculptures around the man, and then they burn those down on Thursdays. And then you have the temple, which is, it's kind of a sad thing. You put like pictures of your loved ones, and then they burn it down, and it's supposed to be a really somber moment. Even while you're there during the week, you're not supposed to be like, yeah, bro, I was fucking this hoe. Like, then you're supposed to be quiet and respectful, kind of. But then there's something called a deep playa, which is all the way out here. And if you see that white line around the perimeter, that's basically, I think, the fence that they build. And some people put some stuff out here. I remember the first year I went, maybe it was the second year, actually, 2012. I was somewhere way out here. I mean, I could see the fence from where I was. It was the middle of the night. And as I was walking around, someone put a random like park bench and put a spiral notebook next to it, and it was just like, feel free to write whatever you want to write, so that's kind of what the deep playa is. It's a very it's a trip, I will say. I didn't spend too much time out there, but I do remember being out there, and that's what I was seeing the second year. It's interesting. I mean, I could sit here, I could show you videos, I could show you photos, which I'm going to do. but it's not going to paint the actual picture of what it's like to be there for many reasons, because the photos and videos aren't capturing the energy, which I hate saying, but the spirit, like what's going on, like it's only showing you what's going on literally right in front of you, and it's only just showing you video and sound. It's not really capturing the moment and what's actually going on at the time. But again, we'll go through those in 1 second. I do remember this is pretty cool about Burning Man, was like everything's free. So like the guy that we asked to camp next to, he ended up telling us a story about how he was on his way to Burning Man with those two girls, and they ended up seeing someone on the side of the road who had a flat tire. So they pulled over, helped them out, got them going. I don't know exactly what they did, if they drove them somewhere. Regardless, it's not the point of the story. But they helped them out, and I guess he said as repayments, or for helping the party with the flat tire out, he gave them a bag full of candy flips. Now, for those that don't know, a candy flip is MDMA and a hit of acid, and you take that at once. I think the other one is a hippie flip, which is mushrooms and ecstasy, but this was a candy flip. So he said, hey, I'm going to keep, and I think it was a piece of paper, like an LSD, was a paper tab or whatever. So he's like, I'm keeping the LSD. He's like, but you guys, if you want the MDMA, help yourself. So I helped myself. And we ended up, I think, in a rave somewhere deep out here past the temple. Like we were out there somewhere. It was quite the long walk heading back. And I think I remember after we were heading back, I remember this is how I knew I was somewhere strange and weird. So we're walking back in the middle of nowhere, and a car drives by, or a mutant vehicle, as they call it, drives by us, and it was shaped like a fish filled with pillows and lights, and it looked like a floating cloud, honestly, and I wanted to jump on that to ride back, but we missed it, and I don't remember how I got back. I think I was just rolling my brains out to the point where I was like, I want to go get high, and you can't really do that there because it's federal lands, and how the federal government is. And they have cops everywhere. But when you're in the campsite, it's different because it's considered like your residency. You need the Fourth Amendment still exists, sort of. And so you can go back there. So you could do it openly, but you were asking for trouble because you don't know who's a cop, who's not. Some of them are uniformed, some of them are not. Not trying to go down that way. So that's probably why I was heading back. But I remember while I was there, like, we were at a smaller rave, maybe 50, 60 people. But what was so crazy was there would be 4 or 5 raves in one area going on at once. And ours was a smaller one. And I remember as we kind of were leaving, walking out of it, I looked over, and then there was an even bigger one. There had to have been at least 3, maybe 2,000 people. And, there's a huge stage, the DJ, I'm not a big like techno guy, but it was, the beat started going down, 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 down. And then it just dropped, picked up, and the crowd just exploded. It was pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. And one of the reasons it was so cool was just how you had that big rave going on, all these smaller raves going on, and it was just it was cool. Now here I'm going to show some of you guys some of the craziness that was going on here. So this was a vehicle someone did. Now you have to understand. Now look at the people here. You can see this is a person standing. There are people standing on this guy's walking up the stairs. Like, it shows you how fucking massive this thing is. Now you're probably wondering, Joe, how the hell did you take that picture from so high up? Believe it or not, and I wish I took a picture of this, I am on a giant boat right now, and this guy took a huge boat and put it on 2 axles with a drive shaft, apparently, and he would drive it around. And again, this was the view you'd get from the top deck. And look at how small everyone is. That should kind of give you an idea to how how high up there I was. And then this thing's still towering over the boat. So that shows you how massive this Trojan horse thing is. This was the big talk of the week. I don't know if this thing has been there since, but that I remember seeing this Trojan horse everywhere there. Here's another view of it. Now, this is the other thing that Burning Man, like if you look in the foreground here, or the background here, you can see all these lights. These are people's art exhibits, their cars, their bikes, and you can kind of see people wearing lights too. And unfortunately, technology is part of it, but and the fact that this camera is from 2011, probably before that. I took these pictures in 2011. I probably had that camera for a year or so prior to that. So technology is obviously an issue, but like the camera does not capture what the actual scene behind it looked like. Because I remember when I take these photos, I look at the screen and then look at the actual scene in front of me and just be like, wow, this photo does no justice whatsoever. You know, like you really have to be there to understand how cool it is and what you're looking at. You know, and again, here's a perfect example of that. Like, look, this spaceship here. This is a vehicle. It's like a bus or something that's driving, and you know, from a distance, it looks like a spaceship. And same thing, this guy's got a dragon here. This might either be a bike or a vehicle. I cannot remember, but you know, those are what's captured. And all, you know, this is a bike. This could be someone walking. Like again, the photo does no justice for what's actually going on here. During the day, this is the campground area. So what'll happen is you'll have people, you know, giving away margaritas, pancakes. Remember, you can't buy anything there. And one of the principles that they talk about at Burning Man is just you do whatever the hell you want, within reason, of course, I guess. And one of those things that you could do whatever you want is build a structure as tall or as high as you want and just go stand on it and then talk shit from it, I guess, you know. But yeah, this was cool. I think we were riding our bikes through here and noticed this. Now, usually when you see this, people are giving stuff away, you know, like free drinks, or, you know, you could trade too. Like, there's not really any one way to do Burning Man, I guess. Well, I guess there's one way not to do it, and that'd probably be showing up in a Trump hat. This is just another camp, you know, so you can see the guy here telling everyone what's going on. You know, you ride your bikes up, you just park them and see what's going on. Now, if you look in the background here, look at all these RVs. This is very new back then. I remember my friend Pickle, B Money, known from episode 7, was just lamenting, like, what's with all these RVs? Why are these RVs here? Like this Switzerland people we met, they also were arrived in a bunch of RVs as well. And I remember him saying, like, this is new. I don't remember this from the previous years. This was a seesaw someone built. Again, this isn't for child's play. This is a big boy. I mean, you're up there. I think you're up like 10, 15 feet in the air on each side. That was pretty cool. I don't remember doing that. There's the man. We looked at that earlier. Now, this I thought was crazy. This is the Thunderdome, and I got a video or two for this. And again, you could see the background. No justice whatsoever. You could climb up this thing. You could do whatever you want. No one was going to tell you no unless you were about to. It happened to me. I was climbing down, and a guy's like, yo, I'm standing here. That's my bad, bro. I think I had a walking stick with me, too, and I think I might have hit a few people with that by accident, just climbing up and down. Now, here, let's look at that. This is what was pretty cool about this place. Check this out. Let me get off the screen here. I'm sorry if that's too loud. I can't really do anything about that. You can see they give you these Nerf sticks, and they put you in these whatever, I don't even know what you'd call that, like bungee cords, I guess. And they bring you back, shoot you at the person, and you just start whipping at them. And sorry for the volume here, it's too loud. This one wasn't that great. It's women, so it's gonna have its limitations. But look at these two guys. Let me do that. So these guys just start wailing on each other. Look at that fucking guy. He fucking whacked him in the face. Comes back. Man, I wish my camera was better back then. But yeah, this what you just have all these people cheering and yelling and screaming. You got people on the ground here. I'm surprised they haven't reset these guys yet. There we go. Now they're gonna reset them. It's total anarchy. You know, it's crazy stuff. Yeah. So this is Thursday night. This is when they burn all the regional burns. This is the night before they burn the man. And yeah, you know, so that was my experience in 2011. 2012. Well, actually, 2011 was interesting because one of the things I remember taking away from that experience was there was no connection to the outside world. There was no way to call. There was no reception out there. There was like you were there and that was that, and nobody heard from you until you got back. And in 2012, when I went there, that seemed to have been a bigger difference. You know, there was someone put in a phone booth that clearly had some kind of internet line out to the world, and you could just call. And the first few days, I would just call my girlfriend and let her know what was going on. And then I think by Wednesday, Thursday, when it really started picking up, that line would have been like 20, 30 deep to that phone. And honestly, the guy that put that in there, I don't understand why he did, because the whole point was to be disconnected from anywhere else. And now you're basically creating a portal for people to call into the world that they're supposed to forget. So that seemed to be a big shift that I hadn't seen in the year prior. And then for us too, I didn't really enjoy 2012 as much the second year because, my friend Pickle decided to like have us camp next to a bunch of bathrooms, which I don't know why I didn't protest that even more. Maybe we were having a harder time finding camping space. I know we were further out. I think this year we might have been out, I think we were like G or F. This time we were like H, J. Like we were way out there the second year around. And the energy of the event seemed to have shifted a lot. Now you're definitely seeing more RVs. I remember in the off season between 11 and 12 checking out YouTube, and there were a lot more videos on YouTube, and that actually made 2012 even harder to buy a ticket for because they had to do a lottery because they sold out fast enough. And I honestly didn't even think I was going to be able to get to the event until I found these two guys from ASU that were able to sell me a ticket. And then I headed up there with B Money, aka Pickle, episode 7. We hung out. I'm going to say I just didn't have a great of a time the second time around. And Pickle was telling me, well, that could have been because you had the sophomore blues because you were so overwhelmed the first time around because you'd never been here before, and now you're here a second time, and it just doesn't measure up, which I'm sure there was something to that. But as we know, looking back in these 10, 12 years, one of the biggest things that was happening at the time was the Burning Man culture was shifting into what it is today. And then that leads me to Burning Man 2023. And what a shit show that was, right? Now, I keep alluding to this shift that was kind of taking place back in 11 through 12, and I definitely noticed it in 2012, and so did Pickle, and that was kind of a topic of conversation through 2012 was, and I didn't really understand it. I have all this time that's passed since then to reflect and think about it. So obviously now I talk about it like, oh yeah, I knew it was going on, but like it wasn't really that obvious. I mean, it was clearly something was going on, but they had to explain it to me, and I really kind of lacked the understanding at the time. But there was clearly some kind of shift going on, and it was pissing a lot of people off. Now, the Burning Man organization, they would respond by saying, oh, well, that's because this is like an evolution. This is, art that's constantly evolving, and an argument to that would be, when this thing moved from Baker Beach to eventually it was at a different spot before where it is now, but Brandon Pickle was telling me that back then, like you didn't even have like they didn't even have a grid. It was just, you just camped wherever, you were allowed to shoot guns at targets. He said one guy steel plated a car, put some servos on it, would drive it around and people would shoot at it. And then I guess someone got a little drunk and ran over a tent. So Burning Man's like, hey, we have liability we got to worry about. So that's when the grid system, that was the first step in its evolution. At least that's how they marketed it. Because those people that were like, I just want to shoot guns and have fun, I think they said you can't do that anymore, And honestly, it's kind of an interesting shift considering like the politics of it, like it's very interesting because when it started, you were being able to shoot guns. Then I'm sure you'd probably be arrested if you even tried to bring a gun to Burning Man. Probably not, but I mean, just kind of, you get what I'm saying. So like that's I remember even when we were going through the motions to go to 2012, and there was a lot of people lamenting about what was going on. That was what Burning Man was saying. It's an ever evolving, it's the art that's evolving, blah blah blah. But like, there was a lot of people complaining about that, and let's want to watch this Ben Shapiro video really quickly because he goes through an article about it. I just think it's kind of interesting. Let's watch this real quick.
In recent years, many longtime burners have resented how the festival's growing popularity has changed the experience. They cite on Reddit posts about the new class of burner consisting of celebrities, internet influencers, billionaires like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg.
Now, I will say, when I was there in, I think, 11 and 12, there were some of these celebrities. I think Rosario Dawson was there, but none of these tech people were going out there. And if they were, they weren't talking about it. And that seems to be the biggest shift in the last, again, over the last 10 years. I don't know when these guys started going out there. I stopped going after 2012, but that seems to be kind of what he's alluding to. But I remember there being a celebrity kind of, there were celebrities there, the presence, if you will, but not like what it is now.
It is true, by the way, that, again, unlike in the past, when everyone who was poor aspired to be rich. And what that meant is that if you were poor, you aspired to also imitate the lifestyles of the rich and famous, which meant that if you go back to the photos of the Great Depression, people are standing in line for their tickets, for their food, and they are dressed in suits.
I remember
Now
these
you have
days.
the
I
richest
don't
people in
remember
our
those days. I remember
society
these
who are
pictures.
attempting to dress like homeless people to prove to everybody else, while they're earning billions of dollars, that they actually despise the billions of dollars they're earning. A culture that hates itself cannot long survive, by the way. What you see in terms of the actual stats from Burning Man is that in 2006, 14% of surveyed burners listed their personal income as $100,000 or more. By 2016, that number had almost doubled to 28%.
That is insane. So it's basically a festival for a bunch of rich San Francisco-nites, and apparently Russians too, because I will say Russians love Burning Man. You know, this is a perspective Shapiro's not going to have because he's never been there. Like, why would he go? For obvious reasons. But when I was there each year, so many Russians, like, I come to America to party at the Burning Man. Like, it's like, what? Why? I mean, I get why, but like, it's just such a far trip to just, you know, dance in the desert, you know? And again, like, what he's talking about is definitely there, but there are more. I mean, the way he presents it, you make it think it's just nothing but, you know, the fire festival on steroids, you know, and it's anything but that, you know, in the terms he's speaking of. Because yes, I mean, I haven't been there nowadays, so I can't speak to now, but back then, like, yeah, there were people glamping and doing those things, and I'm not excusing it, but like, from what I understand, it has gotten way out of control since then, you know. And yeah, we're basically done with that video. All right, so before we get out of here, I just wanted to maybe react to a few of these videos here from Burning Man 2023, because you know, every year that week that Burning Man takes place, I always kind of pay attention. I know that that's what's happening, and it's just always fascinating to think about, you know, going back. I would never go back. I would probably get kicked out of there very quickly. I just can't deal with people from San Francisco. They're all just nuts. I mean, people from California, let alone San Francisco. But yeah, let's just take a look at these videos, because it was crazy to see what was happening out there. I mean, I was out there. There was a few windstorms. It never rained. You know, that alkali sand would get kicked up and in your face, and it's not fun. But this seems to be a no thank you situation. Let's see. Oh God, I do not miss that music. I mean, it looks like a Mad Max movie with this rain, and I mean, that, like, look at the sand and how it's just clay. I mean, that is crazy.
It is soaking wet here at Burning Man.
Look, that's a. Do I have that? I remember this. I remember that mountain view. Do I have that view? I don't think I have that in here. No, I probably didn't put that up. Oh, that's unfortunate.
It is water. But over here is a double rainbow. Look
Oh, geez. Well, I guess that makes it all the better.
at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at
Look at that. It's amazing.
that
Meanwhile,
rainbow.
I can't eat or drink food. Oh, what's this one? Okay. Yeah, this brings back some memories. I remember. Well, here's what's interesting about Burning Man is, so this is definitely a part. Like, Burning Man is kind of like a. I would put it this way: it's a giant party that has all these mini parties going on at once, you know, and then it even splits 2 and 2. So you have the hippie side and the raver side. So you're going to have these parties that are raves, and then you're going to have these parties that, you know, are for people tripping on mushrooms or listening to the Grateful Dead or whatever hippies do. I don't know anymore. But what was crazy, too, is that you would find these facilities like this where you have this huge structure and a huge dance space, and it's made for like 300-400 people. And I remember we ended up at one of these. It was kind of earlier in the night. I remember we walked in, there was music, or I guess we just do. I mean, it sounds just like this. It's loud as fuck. I mean, it's so loud. You're like, hey, where are we going after this? What did you say? I mean, it's literally like that the whole time that you're there. And when we were there, the floor was empty. There was nobody there. And I guess someone was like, well, I guess it gets a little busier here as the night goes on. But then you'll go to like someone's campsite where there's like 5 people and they're dancing it up. Or you go to another spot that maybe can fit 30 people and there's a dance. You can see there's something for everyone at Burning Man. Except when it rains. And that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks for tuning into the ever-evolving, never-ending Ready Said podcast. If society's a joke, then we're just here for the first set. All right, we'll see you next week, you fucks.